You know your marriage is over when you're looking for gas receipts in your husband's wallet and instead find evidence of his secret affair. But instead of confronting him like most wives would, I decided to use my IT background to systematically document everything. What happened next went viral and destroyed 2 careers in the most spectacular way possible. If you've ever been betrayed by someone you trusted completely, this story will hit you right in the gut and then leave you completely satisfied when justice is served. If you love stories about cheaters getting exactly what they deserve through pure strategic brilliance, smash that like button and let me tell you how I turned my husband's affair into his worst nightmare. My name is Lisa, and I'm a 35-year-old cybersecurity specialist living in a small Connecticut town where everyone knows everyone else's business. My husband Danny works as a laptop repair technician, running his own little shop downtown. He's always been the methodical type, the guy who reads instruction manuals twice and organizes his tools by size and frequency of use. That Tuesday morning started like any other. I was getting ready for work, looking for gas receipts to organize our monthly expenses. Danny was in the shower, humming some tune-off key like he always did. I grabbed his wallet from the dresser, expecting to find the usual collection of crumpled receipts and loyalty cards. Instead, I found evidence that my 8-year marriage was a lie. Tucked behind his driver's license was a receipt from an upscale lingerie boutique, $200 worth of items I'd never seen. Next to it, a small box I'd never encountered before, something that definitely wasn't purchased for our benefit. My hands started trembling as the implications hit me like a sledgehammer to the chest. Standing in our bedroom, holding proof of my husband's betrayal, I felt something cold and calculating settle in my mind. Most women would storm into the bathroom right then, demand explanations, throw things, make a scene. But my background in cybersecurity had taught me something valuable. Information is power, and the more information you have, the more power you wield. So instead of confronting Danny, I got strategic. Danny emerged from the bathroom in his towel, looking like the same man I'd married 8 years ago. "Morning, gorgeous. Coffee smells incredible today. How was your evening?" I asked casually, watching his face for any microscopic sign of guilt. Nothing. His expression was perfectly normal, maybe even a little extra cheerful. "Same old routine," he replied, selecting his clothes with his usual precision. "Though I might have to work late again tonight. Got this big corporate client coming in, Johnson Electronics. Their whole network got compromised, and they need emergency repairs on like 20 laptops." Johnson Electronics. I made a mental note. That was the 3rd emergency corporate client this month, all conveniently scheduling late evening appointments that kept Danny out until past midnight. "Which location?" I asked, stirring cream into my coffee with deliberate nonchalance. "Oh, their satellite office. The one by the Hampton Suites near the interstate. You know, they rent space in that business complex for overflow projects." "Right. The Hampton Suites, where rooms can be booked by the hour if you know who to ask." That night, while Danny slept peacefully beside me, probably dreaming about his upcoming client meeting, I began my investigation. My background in cybersecurity meant I had access to tools and knowledge most people never consider. I started with what I had immediate access to: our shared phone plan, computer network, and financial accounts. The digital breadcrumbs were everywhere once I knew what to look for. Hotel charges on our joint credit card that coincided with his emergency client calls. Text messages to a number I didn't recognize, carefully deleted from his phone but still visible in our carrier's online portal. Location data from his fitness tracker showing regular visits to the Hampton Suites during work hours. But the real smoking gun came when I accessed his laptop's browser. History using administrative privileges he didn't know I had, dating websites, hotel booking sites, and most damaging of all, searches for how to hide an affair from your wife. 3 days later, I implemented phase 1 of my plan. Using a small GPS tracking device, completely legal since the car was jointly owned, I began monitoring Danny's real movements versus his reported schedule. The pattern was clear within a week. Every Tuesday and Thursday, Danny's car would appear at the Hampton Suites at exactly 2:30 p.m., staying for roughly 2 hours. These perfectly coincided with his claimed emergency corporate calls and complex repair jobs that required extended troubleshooting. But I needed more than circumstantial evidence. I needed visual confirmation. That's when I decided to see for myself what these business meetings really looked like. I took a personal day and positioned myself in the Hampton Suites parking lot. Camera ready, heart pounding with a mixture of dread and anticipation. At 2:35 p.m., Danny's familiar Honda pulled into the lot. He sat in the car for a few minutes, checking his appearance in the rearview mirror, adjusting his shirt. Then she appeared. A woman I'd never seen before, probably mid-20s, with the kind of figure that made expensive clothes look effortless. She walked directly to Danny's car, slid into the passenger seat, and immediately leaned over to kiss him. Not a friendly peck, not a professional greeting, the kind of kiss that left lipstick marks and shattered marriages. My hands shook as I captured everything on my phone. High-resolution photos, timestamps, GPS coordinates. Danny was wearing the cologne I'd bought him for our anniversary, the one he claimed was too strong for everyday wear. She was wearing a red dress that probably cost more than our mortgage payment. I watched them walk into the hotel together, his hand possessively placed on her lower back, her fingers interlaced with his. They looked like a couple. They looked happy. They looked like everything Danny and I used to be before work, stress, and routine had dulled the edges of our relationship. But there weren't enough photos. I needed the complete picture. Over the next 2 weeks, I became a woman obsessed. Every spare moment was spent gathering intelligence, cross-referencing data, building an airtight case that would leave no room for denial or excuses. Using my cybersecurity skills, I accessed Danny's cloud storage accounts. Passwords he thought were secure, but followed predictable patterns I knew from 8 years of marriage. What I found there made my stomach turn. Photos of them together, dating back 6 months. Intimate selfies, screenshots of their text conversations. She had a name, Melissa Chen, 26 years old, recently divorced, worked as a marketing coordinator for a local real estate firm. But the worst discovery came in their message threads. They weren't just having an affair, they were actively mocking me. Lisa's been working so much lately, she barely notices when I'm gone, Danny had written. Poor thing probably thinks you're just dedicated to your little computer business, Melissa replied with a laughing emoji. Sometimes I think she's more interested in her cybersecurity projects than in me. Reading those messages felt like being stabbed with icicles. For months, they'd been treating my work ethic, something I was proud of, as a character flaw that made their betrayal easier. They'd turned my dedication into their joke, my focus into their opportunity. But the most devastating conversation was from just last week. Do you ever feel guilty? Melissa had asked. About what? Lisa and I have been more like roommates than married couple for the past year. She's so buried in her work, we barely talk anymore. This thing with you is the most alive I've felt in months. She seems nice, though, from what you've told me. Lisa's fine. She's just predictable. Safe. You know what excitement she brought to our relationship last month? A new password manager for our home network. That's the kind of thrill I'm living with. They'd laughed about that. Actually used crying, laughing emojis. I sat in my office at 2 a.m., staring at these messages on my computer screen, feeling something fundamental break inside my chest. This wasn't just adultery. This was emotional cruelty. They'd turned my love of my work, my efforts to build our financial security, into reasons why I deserved to be betrayed. That's when I stopped feeling hurt and started feeling strategic. My plan crystallized over the following week, elegant in its simplicity and devastating in its potential scope. I wouldn't just expose their affair. I would turn their own behavior into a viral cautionary tale about the consequences of betrayal in the digital age. First, I created a comprehensive digital evidence portfolio. Every photo, every message, every receipt, every GPS location, organized chronologically with timestamps and corroborating data. I documented everything using proper forensic procedures, ensuring it would hold up under legal scrutiny. Next, I researched Melissa. Social media profiles, employment history, professional connections. She worked for Hartwell Realty, a family-owned business that prided itself on traditional values and family-first principles. Her LinkedIn profile featured her posing with the company owner's wife at charity events, emphasizing their commitment to supporting strong families in our community. The irony was delicious. I also discovered that Danny had been more careless than he realized. His laptop repair business was registered as an LLC, with me listed as a co-owner for tax purposes. That gave me legal access to business communications, financial records, and, most importantly, his professional social media accounts. Phase 1 of my revenge began on a Wednesday morning. Using completely legal methods, I accessed every platform where Danny maintained a professional presence. His business Facebook page, LinkedIn profile, Google business listing, Yelp reviews, everywhere potential customers might look for information about his services. I didn't post anything false. I didn't need to. The truth was damaging enough. I created a simple website, ConnecticutBusinessEthics.com, designed to look like a consumer protection resource. Every piece of evidence I'd gathered was presented factually, with full documentation, under the heading Case Study, When Personal Ethics Impact Professional Reliability. The site included high-resolution photos of Danny and Melissa at the hotel, their text message conversations, with phone numbers redacted for legal protection, receipts showing business equipment money being spent on personal affairs, and GPS data proving he'd lied about his location during claimed customer service calls. But the masterstroke was the timeline I created, showing exactly when Danny claimed to be serving various customers versus when he was actually at hotels with Melissa. Several local businesses were featured, with dates and times showing when their dedicated repair specialist was actually occupied with non-professional activities. I submitted the website to Google's search index, optimized it for local search terms, and waited. Phase 2 involved a single anonymous email to Hartwell Realty's HR department, with links to the website and specific documentation of their employees' behavior during work hours. I included GPS data showing Melissa's car at hotels during times she was supposedly conducting client meetings. Phase 3 was the most satisfying. I created a professional-looking video presentation titled Digital Infidelity in Small-Town America, a Case Study. Using screen recordings, document cameras, and clear narration, I walked through the entire timeline of deception. The video was factual, professional, and absolutely devastating. I uploaded it to YouTube, tagged it with relevant local hashtags, and shared it on community Facebook groups as a cautionary tale about digital privacy and personal accountability. The response was faster and more comprehensive than I dared hope. Within 6 hours, my website had over 500 views. Within 12 hours, the YouTube video had 2,000 views and was being shared across local social media. By the end of the first day, Yarn Connecticut Affairgate was trending on local Twitter. My phone started ringing at 6 p.m. that evening. First Danny, then Melissa, then Danny again. I let them all go to voicemail, but I listened to every desperate message. Danny's first message was pure panic. Lisa, there's been some kind of mistake. Someone's posted fake information about me online. This is all fabricated. Please call me back immediately. Melissa's message was more strategic. Mrs. Chen, this is Melissa from Hartwell Realty. I understand there's been some confusion about professional relationships. I'd like to meet with you to clear up any misunderstandings. But Danny's second message revealed the truth. Lisa, I know you're behind this. I know you found out and I know you're angry. But posting our private business online is going too far. This is destroying my reputation, and Melissa could lose her job. Please call me. We need to work this out like adults. I didn't call him back. Instead, I added his voicemails to the website as additional evidence of his character. The real fireworks began the next morning. Danny came home looking like he'd aged 5 years overnight. His face was pale, his usual confident posture replaced by the shoulders of a defeated man. The whole town has seen it, he said, collapsing onto our couch. My business phone hasn't stopped ringing, but not with customers. People calling to tell me what they think of me. Mrs. Patterson from the church actually drove by the shop just to stare. And? I asked calmly, not looking up from my laptop. I had to close early yesterday. 3 different customers canceled their appointments after someone sent them links to your website. Johnson Electronics. That was a real client, Lisa. They terminated their contract this morning. Said they couldn't be associated with someone who displays such poor judgment and dishonesty. That's unfortunate, I replied, feeling no sympathy whatsoever. Melissa got fired, he continued, his voice cracking slightly. Hartwell's owner called her into his office first thing this morning, told her that her behavior violated their company values and that her employment was terminated effective immediately. I finally looked up from my computer. How sad for her. Danny stared at me with a mixture of horror and something approaching respect. I never knew you could be so calculating, so ruthless. You never knew me at all, I replied. You knew the version of me that paid half the bills and managed our IT security while you planned your affairs over breakfast. My phone rang. Unknown number. I answered it, putting it on speaker. Is this Lisa Chen? The voice was professional, female. Speaking. This is Jennifer Martinez from Channel 8 News. We've been following the story about the affair documentation website. Would you be willing to do an interview about digital privacy and personal accountability in the modern age? I looked at Danny, whose face had gone completely white. I think I'd be happy to discuss the importance of truth and transparency, I said. When would you like to schedule that? After I hung up, Danny found his voice again. You're going on TV? Lisa, this has gone far enough. You've made your point. I screwed up, I admit it. But destroying my business, ruining Melissa's career, this is overkill. Is it? I asked. For 6 months, you and Melissa systematically lied to me, mocked me behind my back, and used our shared resources to fund your affair. You turned my work ethic into a joke and my trust into a weapon against me. Now you're experiencing consequences for those choices. We could try counseling, he said desperately. Marriage therapy. People work through affairs all the time. People work through affairs when both parties want to save the marriage, I replied. When there's genuine remorse and commitment to change. What I'm seeing from you is regret that you got caught, not regret for what you did. The interview aired 3 days later. I appeared professional, composed, and completely rational as I explained how modern technology makes deception nearly impossible to maintain. The segment was titled When Digital Evidence Meets, Marital Betrayal, and featured extensive footage from my website and documentation. The story went viral within hours. The aftermath was swift and complete. Danny's laptop repair business never recovered from the publicity. His professional reputation was destroyed, not just locally, but across social media platforms where the story had spread. He eventually closed the shop and took a job at a big box electronics store 3 towns over. Melissa struggled to find work in our area. The story had made her unemployable in local marketing and real estate circles. Last I heard, she'd moved back to her parents' house in another state. But the most satisfying consequence was watching their relationship crumble under the pressure of exposure. Without the thrill of secrecy and the excitement of forbidden meetings, Danny and Melissa discovered they had nothing substantial in common. Their affair had been built on the foundation of deceiving me. Once that foundation was gone, their connection evaporated. The divorce proceedings were remarkably straightforward. Danny couldn't contest much of anything, not with comprehensive documentation of his infidelity and financial misconduct readily available online. I kept the house, the savings account, and both cars. He kept his student loans and the reputation as that guy from the viral affair video. 6 months after the story broke, I was sitting in my favorite coffee shop, working on a new cybersecurity project, when my phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. Lisa, this is Danny. I know you probably don't want to hear from me, but I need you to know something. I realize now what I lost when I lost you. Melissa was never going to build a life with me. She was just looking for excitement, and when the excitement turned into scandal, she disappeared. I threw away 8 years of marriage for 6 months of lies. I hope someday you can forgive me, and I hope you find someone who appreciates you the way I should have. I read the message twice, then deleted it without responding. Some women hire private investigators to catch cheating husbands. Some confront directly and hope for honest conversations. Some quietly file for divorce and try to move on with minimal drama. Me? I prefer a more systematic approach. A lot of technology, strategic patience, and the understanding that the best revenge isn't destroying your enemies, it's letting them destroy themselves while the whole world watches. My story became a cautionary tale that spread far beyond our small Connecticut town. The cybersecurity wife's revenge has been featured in articles about digital privacy, shared in professional forums about workplace ethics, and referenced in discussions about the permanent nature of online evidence. Danny and Melissa became symbols of how technology has changed the landscape of infidelity. In the digital age, secrets don't stay secret. Lies leave digital trails, and betrayal can become permanently searchable content. Meanwhile, I rebuilt my life on a foundation of truth instead of deception. I got promoted at work, bought a larger house, and started dating a colleague who appreciates both my technical skills and my strategic thinking. The viral video of their hotel encounters has over 300,000 views now. Every time someone searches Danny's name or Melissa's name, they find evidence of their poor judgment and dishonest behavior. It's a permanent digital scarlet letter that follows them wherever they go. Some people might say I went too far, that public humiliation was excessive punishment for a private betrayal. But those people didn't spend months being systematically lied to while their spouses mocked them behind their backs. They didn't discover that their dedication and hard work were being used as justifications for betrayal. I gave Danny and Melissa exactly what they gave me, a masterclass in consequences. The only difference was that mine came with high-definition documentation and global distribution. And honestly, I haven't lost a minute of sleep over it. Every time someone in our town sees a news story about digital privacy, they remember the affair that went viral. Every time a married person considers cheating, they might think twice about the permanent consequences of digital evidence. Danny and Melissa taught our community an important lesson about honesty, loyalty, and the power of technology to reveal truth. I just made sure that lesson was shared as widely as possible. In the end, the best revenge wasn't just exposing their affair, it was turning their betrayal into a teaching moment for everyone else. Some people settle for private justice. I went for permanent, searchable, high-definition accountability. And let me tell you, 4K resolution was exactly the right choice. In the digital age, cheaters can't hide like they used to. Every lie leaves a digital trail, every deception creates evidence, and every betrayal can become permanent online content. Lisa's story proves that sometimes the best revenge is simply showing the world who people really are, using their own actions as evidence. If this story satisfied your need for justice, smash that like button and subscribe for more tales of cheaters getting caught in the digital age. And check out my recent video about Viola's mother who abandoned her then demanded college money. Click the link on your screen right now. Remember, in the age of smartphones and social media, the truth always surfaces eventually. I'll see you in the next one.